College football fans, welcome in or welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, the channel created by the college football fan for the college football fan, the channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. I am your usual host, Blair Parks. I'm feeling very festive today, in case you couldn't tell, because it is Turkey Day. So happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. I hope you all had an excellent holiday, and I hope that none of you went light on the gravy. Always, and I mean always, drench those food items in the gravy. So if you didn't, there's always next season. All right, so being Thanksgiving, that means we have arrived to week 14, otherwise, or better known as, rivalry weekend. One of my favorite weekends each and every college football season, even though it is very bittersweet, because that means the current season of the regular season anyway is now coming to an end. And as I get older, it seems like the college football season just goes by faster and faster and faster. So what I got on tap for you today, this will be my week 14 preview and picks episode. I'm not going to have all of my normal 3 segments. I'm just going to have my preview and picks segment because I am up against it a little bit. I do have someplace to be this Black Friday morning. Here it is, Friday the 29th. I did intend on having this episode up a day or two ago, but I'm sorry, I have responsibilities, father of 2, full-time job, coach on the side of my son's junior high team. So there's a lot of things going on these days for yours truly, but I needed to get this on file. I needed to get in front of the camera as I always do, and thank you, the college football fan, members and family of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, to thank you for all that you have done or will do for the channel currently or moving forward. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with you, a common average Joe, sharing my love and passion for all things college football on the weekly with you. So please, if this is your first time with me, I always say this, I encourage, welcome, and ask for and want your participation, because you, my fellow college football brothers and sisters, you are the ones who drive these episodes. So please, I want to hear from you. Get involved, exercise your right, use that college football voice, and comment below to any of the hot takes that I present or my opinions, the facts that I might share. I want to hear from you. All right, so please light it up below. Like, share, comment, subscribe. You definitely don't want to miss further episodes of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. So please, I can't wait to hear from you. Get involved, and I promise that I will get back to each and every one of you individually via those comments much sooner than later. And speaking of comments, I always like to give proper shout outs when they are earned and deserved or required. Lately, I got to give a big shout out and a thanks to my guy, Viking Hawk, who has been very, very consistent, watching the episodes, commenting to anything that he sees or hears on the episode. So thank you, Viking Hawk. Without you, this would not be possible. So I appreciate you. Keep those comments coming. All right, so let's go ahead and get into today's episode, my week 14 or my rivalry week preview and picks episode. Now, I'm not going to have, as I mentioned, I'm not going to have my ultimate underdogs this week of week 14 or my trap games of week 14, but I do want to spend a little extra time on some of these previews. And this is what I do. For those of you who are the first time with me, each and every week during the regular season, and I also will have one of these during the conference championship week, I pick 13 games each and every week at random. All right. And I always have 4 specialty games whenever possible. I will always have a group of 5 game of the week, a academy game of the week featuring either Army, Air Force, or Navy. I will always have my Hawkeye pick of the week when my Hawkeyes are on the gridiron, and I always will have my spotlight game of the week. And this week, wow. I mean, almost every one of these games that I have selected are going to go towards either conference championship berths or college football playoff berths, whether they're automatic bids or potential at-larges. There is so much on the line here the last week of this regular season, and this is exactly what we want as fans, right, of the greatest sport and the greatest event in the entire country, the greatest sport. I mean, we give thanks for it each and every fall into winter. All of these games are still going to matter. And that's why I really have to be a little more selective this week, because there's still a ton on the line for the following 13 games. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Last week was a very, very odd, chaotic week, as you all know, with all of the upsets we saw happen, especially in the SEC and the Big 12. Yours truly, I had a rough week. I went 7-6 overall for the season. I'm now 93-50. That's good for 65% correct. Now, my goal preseason was to end up the regular season at 75% or better. And I think I basically, even if I go a perfect 13-0 this week, I'm going to come up short of that 75% goal. So maybe next year I'll go ahead and keep it at 75 or maybe lower it to 70. We'll have to wait and see what goes down. But I'm going to come up a little bit short, but it has been a very, very chaotic year. There's been a lot of parity, a lot of upsets, the rise and falls of a lot of previous powerhouses, some that maybe are emerging and some that have been, quite frankly, disappointing. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now, my first game. Now, I've got 4 games that are going to be taking place today on Black Friday. And my first one out of the gate, a big-time rivalry and trophy game in the Big Ten. This one does not go towards college football playoff determination or the Big Ten title, but still, it's a great trophy game. A lot on the line here. Minnesota travels to Wisconsin. Wisconsin's currently a 2-point favorite at home there in Madison inside Camp Randall. And these two teams play for the battle. They battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. Currently, Wisconsin has it after a win last year at TCF Stadium up in the Twin Cities. But also, there is bowl eligibility on the line today, also for the Wisconsin Badgers. They're 5-6. They need to have that victory to get to postseason. So how do I see this game playing out? Well, it's this simple. I absolutely have zero trust in Wisconsin's offense. I mean, it's been basically abysmal and non-existent, and that's coming from a Hawkeye fan. All right, I've been through a lot of awful offenses the last few seasons there in Iowa City, but I have no absolute faith in their offense up there in Madison. The Luke Fickell era, the era of the air raid, it has not gotten any traction whatsoever. And I'm not saying I believe Minnesota is such a better team than Wisconsin. I mean, they are, but they're not a world beater. But up in Madison, I mean, nothing. There has been little to no progress with Luke Fickell getting that air raid offense in place there in Madison. I believe they will lose this game today. I like Minnesota on the road to take back the Paul Bunyan axe. And I do believe going into next season, Luke Fickell will absolutely be on the hot seat up there at Wisconsin. But today's matchup, give me the Golden Gophers on the road to get it done. All right, my next game also happening today on Black Friday, and there is playoff implications in this game. I'm talking about one of my favorite rivalry games to watch each and every year. Mississippi State travels to number 14 Ole Miss to take on the Rebels. The battle for the Egg Bowl, this year's annual edition of that rivalry. Ole Miss is a big favorite at home. They are a 26-point favorite at home. They're in Oxford. Yikes. I can't remember the last time I saw this sort of a point spread in this Egg Bowl matchup. Ole Miss, they're right now on the outside looking in. Can they still get into the college football playoff? I think possibly, but they need a lot of help. They need teams this weekend like Notre Dame to lose. They need Texas to lose. They still have a shot, but it's really kind of a Hail Mary at this point for the Rebs. But to be quite frank, I don't believe Ole Miss deserves an at-large spot. I just don't think they do with their 3 losses. But in this game, I like Ole Miss to come out, get it done. They're going to shake off that performance, that rough loss last week at Florida. I think they're going to win big. Give me the Rebels in this matchup at home as they keep possession of the egg. All right, next game. This game will be happening on Saturday, another big-time SEC matchup, and there is playoff ramifications for one of the participants. Number 8, Tennessee, travels to Music City to take on Vanderbilt, the in-state rivalry game, and it's simple. It's this simple. Tennessee right now is in. All they need to do, they take care of business, they drop the Commodores. They're going to find their names unveiled in 2 weeks on Selection Sunday. They will be in the college football playoffs if simply they just win. Win, and they are absolutely in. Vanderbilt is a 10.5-point underdog at home, a much better Vanderbilt team than what we've seen Vanderbilt teams of the last decade and a half. They are improved. I love quarterback Diego Pavia and his mentor and coach Jerry Kill coming with him from New Mexico State. So how do I see this game playing out? Once again, Vanderbilt, they are bowl eligible for the first time, I believe, since maybe 2016, I think, is the last time that Vanderbilt went bowling. It might have been 2018. Either way, it's been a little bit of a streak. It has now ended this year. They've got 6 wins. So Tennessee better come out inspired. I think they will. I don't believe there's going to be a letdown spot here. Vanderbilt will give them a game, I think at least for a half, maybe even for the better part of 3 quarters. But Tennessee will pull away. They will cruise to victory, and they will find themselves in the college football playoff. Give me the Volunteers on the road over the Commodores in this matchup. Next one, big time rivalry game, and there is absolutely playoff berth is kind of potentially hanging there on the line. A battle for the Palmetto Trophy. We've got number 15, South Carolina. They're traveling to number 12, Clemson. Clemson finds themselves a 2.5-point favorite at home over the visiting Gamecocks. Sorry, I'm kind of nursing a little bit of a head cold here this week. So either way, I mean, this is a big game, especially for South Carolina. If South Carolina had one less loss, they absolutely would be in position for an at-large bid out of the SEC. They've got big-time victories. This would be an absolute another one to add to their resume. This game doesn't really matter to Clemson as far as an ACC perspective because, you know, they need, I believe, either Miami or SMU. One of those 2 teams need to lose for Clemson to get into the ACC title game. I think actually they need Miami to lose, I believe, for the wacky tiebreakers we have now in divisionless football. But who do I like in this game to capture the Palmetto Trophy? I know right now Texas, South Carolina, they are hotter than Texas chili. I mean, all the momentum in the world is on their side. But I just got a feeling that Clemson is going to take care of business. It's just, there's something about this game that just either South Carolina is going to underperform or perhaps Clemson is going to play outside of themselves, above and beyond. I like, even though it's not an upset because they are favored at home and they are the higher ranked team, but I think as far as teams right now playing some of the best football in the country. It would be an upset. I'm taking the Tigers at home. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that pick, but I just got a feeling about Dabo Swinney and those boys and QBK Klutnik getting it done. I just do. Give me the Tigers at home over the Gamecocks. Next game, big one. Huge for one of these participants for the college football playoff, but other teams just slightly behind them. I'm talking about this year's rivalry, the matchup for the jeweled Shillelagh Trophy. Number 5, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, currently in the playoff, make the trek west to take on USC. USC, the Trojans, find themselves as 7.5-point underdog at home. They are going bowling after their win over last weekend over in-city rival UCLA. USC does win the battle for Los Angeles. Wow, so Notre Dame, simply they win. They're in the playoff. They will see their name unveiled in 2 weeks. But if they lose, their room for error is so small. If Notre Dame happens to lose this game, I do believe that one of the other SEC teams might be able to sneak in the back door. That's assuming they take care of business as well. So Notre Dame, everything on the line here in this rivalry game. Can USC potentially jump up and bite them and surprise them? I don't think it's going to happen. I love this Notre Dame team. I know a lot of people want to mention their schedule, that awful loss, that terrible loss, especially on paper or when you watched it at home against NIU, Northern Illinois, early in the season. But I'm telling you, nobody right now wants to play this Notre Dame team. They are playing elite national championship type defense. They can run the ball, pound the rock with the best of them, and they have a quarterback who I don't want to say game manager, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He doesn't put their offense in a bad spot. This is a team that I think is playing their best football of the year, and they are an absolute national championship threat. So I like Notre Dame on the road. I think it's going to be a close game, but ultimately I like the Fighting Irish to emerge, get it done, and get to the college football playoff. Give me ND in that matchup. Next game, not really a lot on the line. There is, for one of the participants, another one of those SEC teams that are just on the outside looking in, along with Ole Miss, is Alabama. And I've got to talk about this year's edition of the storied Iron Bowl, one of the great rivalry games that we have each and every year. Auburn travels to Tuscaloosa to take on number 13 Alabama. Alabama finds themselves an 11.5-point favorite at home. Can they pick themselves up off the mat after last week's awful, terrible loss at a 5-5 Oklahoma team against the Sooners, who basically looked like Oklahoma of old, and that absolute beatdown of the Crimson Tide? Will Alabama respond in this rivalry game? Because if they take care of business and Notre Dame loses, or maybe somebody else, they might find themselves in good position to sneak in to get an at-large bid. But I believe, just like Ole Miss, Alabama does not deserve even to be in the discussion, but being right there where they are, they still have a chance. And I like Alabama big in Saturday's matchup down in Tuscaloosa for the Iron Bowl. I think they're going to take it out on somebody. And unfortunately, Auburn's next on their schedule. They come out, they make a point, they win big. Roll Tide, give me Alabama in this year's edition of the Iron Bowl. Next game up, big one within the Big 12. I did not see this matchup coming as far as what's on the line. I don't think anybody really did. But just like South Carolina and Notre Dame, right now, nobody, and I mean nobody, should want to match up with the red-hot Sun Devils of Arizona State. This year's matchup for the Territorial Cup rivalry, we've got number 16 Arizona State, and Sparky and the Sun Devils travel to Tucson to take on the Arizona Wildcats. Arizona finds themselves a 9.5-point underdog at home. I love this Arizona State team. I mean, all they have done in the second half of the season is win. If they win this ball game on the road over their in-state rival, they punch their ticket to the Big 12 Conference Championship game, and the winner of that obviously will get an automatic bid. So Arizona State wins this game. They're going to have their opportunity to get into the college football playoff. And I'm going to roll with the visitors. I mean, they are just absolutely on fire. I love this young whippersnapper, the young pup coach that he is. 34 years old. I love this. I mean, I'm his senior by almost 10 years. It's crazy. Actually, I am seniored by 10 years. But I do love Arizona State and Sparky, one of my favorite mascots. And like their fans say, they're about to, as far as Arizona goes, Arizona and your fans, fork you, fork them. Give me the Sun Devils in this matchup there in the desert. All right, next game up. Big one in the Big Ten. This year's edition of The Game, and we've seen it the last 3 years. It has mattered so much. This year, not really. Well, for one of the participants, kind of, but it's still. This rivalry game is a rite of passage, especially if you grew up like I did in Big Ten country. Michigan travels to number 2 Ohio State to take on the Buckeyes, or as Gus Johnson has been saying lately, the world-famous Buckeyes. But, I mean, there's also other teams who are just as good as they are, who are famous as far as blue bloods. I don't know what's gotten into old Gus Johnson lately. It's been a little much for me, but Ohio State finds themselves a 21-point favorite at home in this game. Ohio State right now might be the best team in the nation, but I can't bestow that title upon them. It has to be to the only team that has defeated them this year. Yeah, just by 1 point, that's got to be Oregon. But Ohio State is right now firing on all cylinders. I think it's very fair to say, and anybody who knows college football should agree with me, and I think they would, unless they're they live in a glass house, right? That there's only two really elite teams right now in the country. It's Oregon and Ohio State. The SEC has a lot of good teams, but I don't know if they have an elite team or teams in the SEC. That's yet to be seen. I love Ohio State in this matchup. I think Michigan will come out. They will battle. They'll be inspired. They will give them everything they got. Sharon Moore's job might be on the line there at Michigan after only 1 year. I think their OC will absolutely be shown the door. I mean, they do have that 6th win. They'll go to the postseason. But I'm taking Ohio State in this matchup. And I think right now, as I stated, they might be the best team in the nation, how they're playing. But time will tell. But in this matchup of the game, give me Ohio State at home, big over their rival from the north. Give me the Buckeyes. All right, next one. My last game before I get to my specialty games of the week. Big one, the battle for the Old Oaken Bucket inside the Hoosier State. And you're probably thinking, wow, nobody saw this matchup coming and what's looming for Indiana. Purdue travels to number 10 Indiana. The Hoosiers are a 29.5-point favorite over their in-state rival Purdue, and it's been a season to forget for Purdue. They won their opening game in week 1 over Indiana State and now have lost, 10 straight? I think it's going to be 11 straight. Indiana, the magical season that they have, they were previously undefeated after last weekend when they went up to Columbus and got absolutely pummeled. But being number 10, finishing the season, if they win and go 11-1 with the one loss to one of the two best teams in the nation, they will find themselves in the college football playoff, and I think they will take care of business. Give me Indiana to get it done, and congratulations, Indiana and Coach Curt Cignetti on getting to the college football playoff in year 1. Give me the Hoosiers big in that matchup. All right, let's go and move into my specialty games of the week. And once again, thank you for all you do, your time, your attention. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Can't wait to hear from you. So let's start off with my Academy game of the week, my way of saluting the fighting men and women of the United States Armed Forces. So this week, I'm going to go ahead and select Army. Usually, I always select Army, Air Force, or Navy, but I've got to go with Army this week. UTSA, the Roadrunners travel up to upstate New York to take on the Army Black Knights. Army is a touchdown favorite, 7-point home favorite to win this game. What a great season for the Cadets. They have one loss on the year a couple weeks ago against Notre Dame. But if they win this game and then beat Tulane in the AAC conference title game and then take care of their rival Navy with a little bit of help, if Boise State happens to falter, they may find themselves getting the bid to represent the group of five. I absolutely like Army in this matchup to get it done. I think they win, cover big. Give me Army at home, and the Cadets will be dancing. I love seeing that atmosphere up there at Michie Stadium, one of the best unknowns in the entire nation. All right, so next is my group of five matchup of the week, and this game is going down later today on Black Friday. Huge one in the MAC conference, the Mid-American Conference. Miami of Ohio travels to Bowling Green. The Red Hawks take on the what are they? They are the Hawks, I believe. The Red Hawks versus the Falcons. That's right, the Bowling State Falcons. Bowling Green is a 2-point favorite. It's basically a toss-up game. And the reason why this is a big one, because the winner is in and the loser is out. Whoever wins this game punches their ticket to the MAC title game. Can't wait to watch this one. Hopefully I get a little bit of a chance. You know, I said earlier this year, during my bold predictions episode prior to the season kickoff, I said one of the teams to watch within the group of five was the Miami of Ohio Red Hawks. They have a Gabbert under center at quarterback, which makes the folks here in the Show Me State of Missouri, where I reside, very happy. I'm going to roll with the Red Hawks on the road to get it done over the Falcons. Give me the Red Hawks on the road, and they advance to the MAC Conference Championship game. Go Miami of Ohio. So I'm going to go and lay it on the line here with the mighty Red Hawks. All right, now my Iowa Hawkeye pick of the week. It is Black Friday. That means this matchup is all about the Heroes Trophy, the border matchup, the visiting Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska comes to Kinnick Stadium to take on the Hawkeyes in Iowa City. Iowa currently is a 6-point favorite at home. It's going to be a very chilly game to either attend or even watch. It's a 6:30 at night kickoff later this evening. That makes me even just shiver thinking about that. Nebraska got bowl eligible last week with their big home victory on Senior Day against Wisconsin. So now they end that streak of no bowl since 2016. Congrats to the Nebraska Cornhuskers, their program, their fans. How do I see this game playing out between Big Red and Iowa? I mean, this is a rivalry game. I mean, when Nebraska joined the Big Ten, they had to have a rival, and this one made total sense. It's a border states. It makes, it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? But this rivalry was really forced upon us Iowa fans, and there's been so much hatred between Nebraska fans and Iowa fans. I don't really understand it. I never have. I don't think I ever will. But I am starting to kind of get those negative feelings a little bit more towards Nebraska the older I get, because quite frankly, yeah, the overall series is so one-sided in favor of Nebraska. But since they joined the Big Ten, other than the first 2 years when they defeated Iowa, it really has been a one-sided contest. I think Iowa has won 8 of the last 10, so not really much of a rivalry game, really, when it comes down to it. But this is going to be a close game. I mean, the conditions are going to be brutal for both teams. Dylan Raiola is the future of this program for Nebraska. He's still a freshman, and I think people now have seen that. He is going to make some mistakes. He's going to have learning curves. There's no doubt about that, okay? While Iowa, the Jackson Stratton era started last week, making his first start on the road at Maryland. Iowa took care of business. This is his second career start, the former fourth-string walk-on quarterback, right? So Jackson's going to make his first home start tonight against the Huskers on national television. I just think Iowa's going to get it done. I think Iowa is a much better team inside Kinnick Stadium than on the road. I think they will just try to come out and bludgeon the Cornhuskers. They'll try to control the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and it's going to come down to who plays cleaner, who covets the ball more, who wins the turnover battle, penalties, special teams in games like this, when normally these are one-score games between Iowa and Nebraska. That's usually the what we're in store for, and I think that will happen yet again tonight. But I do like Iowa at home to get it done, finish 8-4 on the season, and then simply just await our bowl destination. Give me the Hawkeyes in this matchup tonight. Now, before I get to my spotlight game of the week, I have an additional bonus pick for you. That's right, being the kind, generous individual that I am and a fan of all things college football, I got to give a shout out. It came out earlier this week that the legend Mack Brown, making his second stint as head coach at North Carolina, has been fired. He is able to finish out this week's game. He may or may not coach in the bowl game. We'll have to wait and see. But it seems like his future on the sidelines as a head coach will come to an end. Now, this guy does have one national title under his belt while he was at Texas. So I'm going to go ahead. My bonus pick is the pick. I'm going to call it the Mack Brown Bowl. NC State, the Wolfpack, travels to Chapel Hill to take on North Carolina. North Carolina is a 3.5-point favorite at home in Mack Brown's finale. How can I go against the old ball coach? He's going to get the victory, be carried off the field by his teammates. Give me North Carolina and Mack Brown. And thank you for your service and your contributions to our sport, Mack. You've been great. Enjoy yourself. And you're always welcome. Maybe as an analyst, I could see Mack Brown being a good commentator in studio with Fox or ESPN. Can absolutely see him doing it in that capacity. But I'm going to go ahead and take Mack Brown and his North Carolina Tar Heels in this week's bonus pick. All right. So getting to my spotlight game of the week. Huge game for both participants. It's the game of the week, without a doubt. It's the matchup between big and little brother. Number 3 Texas, the Longhorns travel to number 20 Texas A&M to take on the Aggies, a rivalry renewed. These two teams play for the Lone Star Showdown Trophy. A&M finds themselves a 6-point underdog at home. Are you kidding me? And this is why this is such a big game. Texas clearly right now is in the playoff, ranked number 3 very comfortably, but they do not have a marquee victory on their resume. I mean, they've had one of the easiest schedules, especially in the SEC. They didn't play Alabama, didn't play Tennessee or LSU or Missouri, teams that are pretty solid, or South Carolina, but they did face off against Georgia, who handed them that one loss at home in Austin. So this is their second opportunity to get a signature win. And I believe that if they don't win this game tonight or Saturday night, I don't know if Texas really deserves to get an at-large bid. I mean, with 2 losses, they probably will because they're Texas and because they're an SEC school. I mean, unfortunately, this is still a beauty pageant, and it is. And I get it. You could say teams that are probably in the playoff that are ahead of them, like Penn State, Indiana, same thing. They don't have a marquee victory, but if they take care of business, they're going to have 1 loss compared to Texas's 2 without having, that marquee victory, and they're going to have two opportunities. When Penn State and Indiana, neither of them played Oregon. Neither of them, they didn't play each other. Indiana did not play Penn State. They both played Ohio State, and they lost to a elite Ohio State team. So I don't know if Texas is going to get in if they lose this game, but if they win, they are absolutely in, whether they win or lose the SEC title. And that's the other thing. Whoever wins this game, it punches their ticket to face Georgia in the SEC title game. I think that A&M needs this game more. They have 3 losses, so they need this game. It's at home, so that's their only hope to get to the playoff is to win this game Saturday night, defeat Georgia, and they will get that auto bid from the SEC. So how do I see this game playing out? All right, a lot on the line. This is the rivalry game that we've waited for a long time for these two teams to hook up. But I cannot go against the 12th man and A&M at Kyle Field at home. The crowd's going to have the whole day to get pumped and jazzed up. Texas has not proven anything to me. I like A&M, and it's crazy that they're a home underdog in this matchup. Texas has not been very consistent recently. I like A&M big. I am not going to even hesitate to call this. Give me A&M, and then we're going to have to wait and see for a couple Sundays what happens with Texas. Do they get in because they are Texas and they're an SEC school, or do they fall completely out of it, which I believe they should, because their schedule has been almost Charmin soft. It has been, but they've got another shot to prove their worth. But it's not going to happen. Give me A&M, gig 'em, go Aggies. All right, everybody, that is this week's episode, my Week 14 Rivalry Week preview and picks. Thank you for your continued time, attention, support. Anything that you can do or have done for the channel is much appreciated. Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure for me to be here with you, sharing my love for all things college football. I do plan on being back sometime this weekend, probably early tomorrow, Saturday morning. I will have an instant reaction and recap episode to the Iowa-Nebraska game later on this evening, so be looking out for that. So don't miss it. So you definitely want to click that button, get notifications, like, share, subscribe, comment, light it up below. I will get back to you. Thank you for all that you've done. I hope you've had an excellent Thanksgiving once again. So either check me out this weekend, or I will be back early next week with my updated projected college football playoff rankings going into Tuesday night. So until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the football. Enjoy your families, your time off. And I'll see you soon on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.